Hello to all. The sermon I'm about to read you is taken from www.joyofsatan.org, which is written by High Priestess Maxine. Ghosts. Ghosts are souls that have not moved on and remain trapped on the astral. Most ghosts are not just empty shells like the Jewish mysticism crowd tries to preach. Most ghosts have emotions, their personalities are intact, and are all consciously aware. The soul is like water and takes on the shape appearance of the body it has lived in. Ghosts can be trapped for a number of reasons. Most are not at rest, like there are still major issues they have that they will just not leave. People who meditate and have strong souls stand out like a beacon on the astral. I remember years ago a friend of my son's and her husband got a reading from me in a busy restaurant at the daytime. She is psychic as well. She had live-in a ghost who had befriended her son, who was only 5 years old at the time. This ghost also followed her to her new house when the family moved. All of a sudden, right in the middle of her telling me of him, she said, "He is here." Of course, he went right for me and entered me and began speaking through me. He died from alcoholism in the early 1950s in that first house they lived in. Was very lonely and befriended her son, who could see him and communicate with him clearly. He was very concerned that they might reject him and assured everyone through his communication through me that he would never hurt anyone. I saw the room where he died and the bed he died in. After the reading and communication was over, she told me that she had a couple of other psychics come to her and both said the same thing that I did. Now there are levels of ghosts, level 1 ghosts and level 2 ghosts. Level 1 ghosts are like the ghosts I wrote above. They can be sensed by average people who are a bit more open at the soul and by children who are open enough to see and sense them. These ghosts do not have much power and are often spiritual victims. They have different reasons for not moving on. These can include being murdered, especially in cases where the murderer is not caught or the body is not found, or in other unusual or peculiar circumstances that were involved in their death. The soul is not at rest. Often though, the body is not found or is not buried where the soul wants it to be buried. That could have also occurred by accident. The person may have gone missing and is trying to tell family that they are dead. There are even some who don't even know they are dead. My son had befriended 2 brothers. This was very sad. The younger brother, in his late teens, was of small stature. His girlfriend woke up in the morning after a night of heavy partying with him and found him stiff and cold and totally dead. From fatal alcohol poisoning. The next day I turned into him and he didn't even know he was dead and was wondering why I bothered to contact him. Sometimes a ghost will try to communicate something they feel important before they move on. This can happen within a week after the death. They then move on after a few days. My uncle, who was a weak soul, tried to communicate with me and my mother a long time ago. This sort of freaked me out because I was an atheist at the time and didn't want to deal with it as I didn't believe in a soul or anything like that. But when my mother said she also felt him but tuned him out, I knew it was real. He connected with me by my seeing his death in the obituary section of the newspaper. There was a specific personal reason involving another relative of mine. Okay, now there are what are known as level 2 ghosts. There's something else. These are something else. These souls are much more rare than the others I just wrote about. These were all the powerful sorcerers and witches when living, and who know they are dead. Poltergeists and those who can cause all sorts of mayhem and havoc in certain places. Some can even move objects, inflict injuries, cuts, and such on living beings, both humans and animals. They are blunted, and most people, even those who are not psychic, can sense their presence. Water energy is cold and of death in many cases. The places where there have been violent deaths, there are often water problems, usually in the form of inexplicable leaks. Thank you for listening, and hail Satan.